I cannot shrink myself to be less big. I cannot take up less space than I naturally do. I cannot make myself smaller. Believe me, I've tried. You know that scene in The Avengers when Bruce Banner says something like, "You want to know if you can kill the Hulk, but you can't. Believe me, I've tried. I put a bullet in my mouth and the other guy spat it back out." That's exactly how it is. Even from a young age, I sensed the resentment from peers, family members, so-called friends, even adults. Resentment for being such a large personality, for having already achieved a lot just as a child, for already having an insane work ethic and so many talents, for being a natural performer and calling attention to myself without even trying. And resentment for, on top of all of that, being a pretty cute kid, like being pretty. I sensed it, but I didn't want to be resented. I wanted to be loved. So, as a kid and moving into adulthood, I began to aspire to be humble and generous, to make up for being one to whom so much was given because it wasn't fair to those who were not naturally as big as I. I felt guilty and inherently bad, and that I had to make up for whatever was inside me that made people jealous. I gave of myself without boundaries: time, money, advice, shelter, understanding, caregiving, at the expense of my own dignity. And I drained myself with this people-pleasing without any resentment because I truly believed that I owed it to the jealous to make them feel more comfortable. I was even told to try and dress and present less attractively when going out with other girls because I attracted too much male attention and didn't need it because I already had a partner, but they didn't, and so I took too much attention away from them. And you know what? I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry for naturally taking attention. You are totally valid. In my early 20s, just as I was feeling like I could give myself permission to be fabulous, I had to endure an evil abuser. So even more so, I tried to dim the things about me that supposedly made me a target. I tried to make myself less brilliant, less happy, less beautiful, less noticeable, more slumped over, more subservient, more quiet. I killed myself. I killed my entire sense of self in the hopes that my abuser would back off. And still, she would say to me, as I was on my knees begging her to stop, "You really think highly of yourself, don't you?" Even on my knees, begging, even as the pathetic, sniveling pile of trash I thought I had succeeded in making myself to be, I was still a threat. I was still intimidating, and I was still taking up space. I was still big. When I entered this world of entertainment and influencers and social media, I let insecure colleagues and so-called friends make me feel stupid for being myself. I let them call me unintelligent for delivering my content the way I do. Having finally unmasked myself and felt free to be my true self in real life and online, I let them convince me to step away from opportunity so that others, aka they, could take advantage of them without having to compete with my presence. I let them make me think that I had not worked hard for what I have accomplished. I let them make me think that no one cared about what I had to say. As one to whom so much is given, I owed it to the jealous to be the motherfucking giving tree. And what happens when the giving tree has no more fruit left to give? When I hit a wall and I had nothing left to give, I felt that I shouldn't be alive anymore. And you know what? Some of those people were actually okay with that. And when a psychiatrist asked me, "Who are you when you're not doing things for other people?" I couldn't answer the question. I had forgotten myself completely. I tried to make myself smaller and it didn't work. It didn't save me. It didn't make people leave me alone because there's nothing I can do about other people's insecurities. There is nothing I can do about people who would rather diminish those who make them feel threatened instead of leveling the fuck up themselves. There is nothing I can do to take up less space than I naturally do. I put a bullet in my mouth and the other guy spat it back out. I don't know why I am so big. I don't know how I even do it. But in the words of Agatha Harkness, you never do. Time to grow up. I'm also heeding Agatha's instruction, don't you dare feel guilty about your talent. Like Wanda Maximoff, no one taught me magic. I was just naturally born with power and magic inside me. Why me? I don't know. But I do know this. I know I'm not perfect, and that's okay. I know the lessons I've learned the very, very hard way that I refuse to repeat. I know I'm doing my best to work towards my highest self. I know I'm doing the work to acknowledge the light and dark sides of me. And I know that I'm finally genuinely loved by those in my current circle. And not just for what I can do for people, but for who I am, for my largeness and loudness, for my brightness and beauty and goofiness, for the joy I radiate in using my talents, for the space I take up, and also for my flaws, for my imperfect moments, for my constant struggle to be better, for all of me. So instead of shrinking, I will be becoming the most dangerous version of myself there can possibly be. In the words of Lady Danbury, I make myself the most terrifying creature in every room I walk into. And if that makes people upset, if that makes me supposedly bad, in the words of Elphaba, let all odds be agreed, I'm wicked through and through. If I am not digestible to you, then frankly, you can choke. You can choke until there are tears in your eyes. You can choke so hard that you vomit all over yourself, for all I care. Because according to my own personal fucking research, I am meant to take up a lot of space. I cannot shrink myself to be less big. I cannot be smaller. And honestly, I don't fucking want to be. Because I learned that actually the worst thing I could do is not shine as brightly as I possibly can. That is not helping others. It is not helping you. As a matter of fact, when you shine as brightly as you possibly fucking can, you set an example and you give other people the permission to do the same, to shine as bright as they possibly can too. What a shame I robbed the world of that for so long. Never again.